So in my last video, some of you guys had a huge problem with me saying that you should literally pull the boss. And rather than explain it in the comments a million times, I figured I'd just make a whole video about this because it's something that a ton of people struggle to understand. And this is sort of because in most raids, people don't know how to do this. So first of all, I obviously don't mean that you should run up and pull the boss whenever you feel like it, or that you should pull before the pull timer is over and grief everyone's pre-pots. Even if you could do something like that without getting kicked out of your guild, it would lower your raid's DPS by a measurable amount and hurt your own parse. So let's just really break this down for a second. What is the pull timer for? Is it A, letting everybody know when the tank will be pulling the boss so that way they can watch it happen? B, an AFK check? C, a timer so that everybody knows when to hit the boss at the exact same time? Or D, a notification to let everyone know when the fight's going to start so that way they can start hitting the boss afterwards? You can pause the video if you want and really think about it, but the answer is C. Ready checks are supposed to be used to check for AFKs before the pull timer goes out, and when the pull timer goes out, you're supposed to hit the boss on 0. That means even if the tank hasn't hit the boss at all yet, you should still hit the boss and you should pull the boss. Leaving a huge chunk of time at the beginning of the fight just doing nothing isn't helping anybody. So in a raid like mine on the higher end, at the end of the pull timer, literally everybody hits the boss at the exact same time. And you guys probably see this on streams and stuff. But in most raids, that's not going to be the case. And many of you guys are scared to hit that early because other people would notice you doing it and judge you for it. Or the tank might just completely AFK and your fireball crits and you've ripped aggro, and now you're taking the boss and you've wiped the raid and everybody hates you and you're gonna get kicked out of the guild and yelled at. And this is all just completely in your head, dude. This is a fear that everybody has to get past at some point. So just to get an example for this video, I did a VOA on my Mage to show you that nobody even noticed that I did it, but it makes a pretty big difference in your parse and just adds free damage. And also notice how nobody else in the VOA is doing it. So I imagine this is what a lot of your guys' raids look like, where the pull timer is going down and no one's really paying attention at all, they're just standing there. Now, I fail at literally pulling the boss with my precast because I don't play Mage right now, and so I don't have all the times lined up to pull it perfectly, but I am trying to pull the boss. And I'm trying to have that pull timer hit 0 and my Frost Firebolt be the first thing that hits the boss. Now, I'm not saying that pulling off the rip literally never happens. In earlier expansions like TBC or Vanilla, it's much more likely to happen and cause a wipe, especially on an untauntable boss. But in Wrath of the Lich King, so many things have to go wrong in addition to your tank being completely AFK for you to actually pull off the rip. It's very safe to say that trying as hard as you can to pull the boss is a good thing to do even in a pug. And if you do actually wipe the raid, then just apologize and just don't do it again. You're lucky to even kill the boss at all in a raid like that, so at least you know where you are. Taunt for every tanking spec in Wrath has a 30-yard range off the GCD and 8-second cooldown. And due to misdirect and tricks, even horrible tanks will have the immediate threat of usually 2+ other raid members in addition to their own higher multiplied threat levels, which means in order for you to out-threat a misdirect tank on pull, you would have to be doing over triple the damage of what just those individual people are doing without threat multipliers. So even if all of your stuff crits, it's totally fine. As long as you did it after the pull timer and everybody got their pre-pots off, just because the boss was targeting you for a millisecond doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. The tank can easily just pick it up from there and you do the boss as normal as you would have anyway. But what I'm trying to get out in this video is you should absolutely never wait out the entire pull timer and then look at the tank and wait for him to pull and then react to him pulling and then start doing your DPS. You are just missing out on so much additional uptime because you don't want to risk making anyone mad and you don't want to draw attention to yourself. Everybody just has to get over this at some point. You'll never make it into a guild where everybody is doing this if you don't start doing it in a guild that isn't doing it. In vanilla raids where the boss is immune to taunt, this could be much more of an issue, especially if you're a DPS warrior. But still, good tanks will always out-threat you, and I'd still only really have to worry about this when I don't know if my tank knows what he's doing. It also kind of amazes me that so many people are terrified of pulling threat and then they just never look at the threat meters to see what's actually going on. Like, are you just arbitrarily waiting 3 seconds regardless if the tank has a 1k threat lead or a 50k threat lead? And trust me, I've been in raids with some horrible tanks over the years, and I still try and push the limits. Which is why I like playing Rogue and Hunter, not so that way I can do triple my tank's threat and just vanish it off, but so I can express and apply my skill in a situation where it matters and is needed. Also, let me clarify, you should not be doing a dungeon and just running around and pulling the whole thing. That's really dumb, don't do that. But on anything that has a pull timer, it is expected that people will be hitting the boss on 0, and so you should do that. And it doesn't really matter who hit it first. But thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to make many more videos like this in the future, so subscribe so you don't miss them.